Steeler Nation Live Studios, overlooking the beautiful city of downtown Rochester, New York. Bringing you Steeler news, updates, stats, and scores. Check us out on the web and TalkShoe Radio at www.steelernationlive.net. And new for the 2015-2016 season, Kicking It with Jeff Reed, former Super Bowl champion of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, here are your hosts of Steeler Nation Live, Big Tiz and
Welcome to Steeler Nation Live, Big Tiz.
And I'm Big O.
Everybody's happy and glorious. The Steelers, Big O. Huge win in Pittsburgh. Nice homecoming. The crowd was fired up. The Steelers were fired up. You know, defensively, offensively, every aspect of the game, the Steelers were fired up, Big O.
Yeah, we were working on all cylinders. Everything was working good. And this is what you want to do for a victory. Now, we're not talking about, this wasn't a slouch team. This wasn't, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was a prime team. The San Francisco 49ers, a lot of heritage, a lot of history. But this year, younger, newer defense, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers, we had to take care of those guys.
Right. And in this game, the Steelers did a lot of things that we said they had to do, Big O. The Steelers established a great running game behind Williams. Williams, great job, great added to the Steelers. You were pushing for him. I was kind of against them when they picked him up. But he's been a great add. I can admit it like a man. And the Steelers did a lot of other things that were great. They added Heath Miller more into the game plan.
Yeah, they utilized Heath Miller, 2 catches, but these catches were huge. And one was for a 2-point conversion, touchdown, whatnot. You got to get Heath Miller in. I should change my name to Play Action because you know what, Big Tiz? When we utilize the play action, not necessarily getting Heath Miller into the game, into the play, but it works on offense.
Right. And that's a lot of it was. And the Steelers opened the game up a lot more. The Steelers tried to get the game, a little bit of the wide receiver screens were almost close to being like running plays. But the fact is the Steelers used those to actually open up for the more effective long ball. The Steelers, Big O, had some huge gains in this game against the 49ers of the long ball.
And here's exactly how Ben Roethlisberger exploited the cover 2. Now, the cover 2 defense it will work with a veteran team, such as, like the Steelers are trying to get in with the cover 2. The 49ers are trying to get in with the cover 2 as well. But this can go horribly wrong against you. And Ben Roethlisberger, being the veteran quarterback that he is, because he exploited this. And let me tell you why and how Ben Roethlisberger exploited the cover 2. What the San Francisco 49ers defense tried to do is they pulled their safeties and their corners in as such they were going to blitz, and then they tried to pull themselves out of that and back into coverage. But when you got speedy receivers like Antonio Brown, Hayward Bay making that big plunge into the Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown pool, stuff like that, it's very, very hard to utilize the cover 2, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is figuring that out as well. But that's what Ben did. He exploited their cover 2, the young defense, and this is why the long ball works so well with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, the fact is, Ben wasn't under too much pressure in this game. The O-line did a great job, holding up for Ben. So, like you said, Ben can get that time to throw downfield. But let's go to the defensive side of the ball for the Steelers.
Absolutely,
absolutely. They were all over the place. Kind of gave you shades of, the 70s, that Steel Curtain again, where you've seen the energy, you've seen bodies flying all over the place, Big O. There were a lot of things, and the Steelers were more aggressive on stopping and running this game.
Absolutely. This was what you would say would be a breakout game for linebacker Ryan Shazier. He had a sack, forced fumble, recovered a fumble, and a lot of pressure on the quarterback. What they did was initially they stopped the run with Hyde. Hyde, he accumulated 168 yards or something like that, ridiculous yards the game previous. What Pittsburgh had to do was stop the run and put pressure on Kaepernick. Kaepernick was the lead rusher. We'll get to that in statistics in a little bit. But when the defense is putting that much pressure on a quarterback, you have to do something, and the coverage downfield was beyond adequate for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Antoine Blake and everybody was actually doing a good job in the first half.
Yeah. The Steelers did an excellent job with that. The Steelers came up with 5 sacks in this game. Pressure coming from the outside, pressure coming from the middle, and they timed their blitzes perfectly. And the fact is, they had to get much of the credit in this game, and we have to say that because the Steelers actually had 2 goal line stances in this game.
Absolutely.
And that was amazing. Now, one of them, Big O really didn't agree with that, was a stop when the tight end, I believe, caught the ball on the sideline and he went out of bounds, hit the ground, but the ball popped up. Almost gave you kind of shades of the Dallas game against Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you catch the ball in play, you got your 2 feet in, you make the football move, whatnot, you have possession, you hit the ground. Ground cannot cause a fumble, so that cannot be an incomplete pass. Once he crosses the goal line with the ball, has possession, it's a touchdown. Such like a running back, if he was diving for the goal line, the ball crosses the line, the ball hits the ground, and he creates a fumble. It's not a fumble, folks, because the ball, once it breaks the plane, the goal line, the running back has possession, breaks the plane, it's a touchdown, plays over. So that should have been a touchdown as opposed to the touchdown they did give the 49ers.
Right. To Anquan, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Anquan Boldin.
We're not using college football rules. Is the last time I checked, Big Tiz. You need 2 feet in. You need control of the football. He had control of the football, but he only had 1 foot in, which I think was a big make-up call. I don't know, Big Tiz.
Yeah, I mean, with the way the NFL are, with the rules and the way they do the change of the rules, and they try to address so many calls, the fact is I think they're kind of missing things, and nobody knows what's an actual touchdown or what's a touchdown anymore. I mean, it's to the point it's out of control. But the fact is, with the 49ers almost kind of fooled themselves out of this game because they should have opened up with things a little more. But the fact is, they stayed with a lot of the 3 tight end sets.
Oh,
and
that was
3 tight end sets. It kind of hurt them in a way because now you have Kaepernick backing up the pass, which he couldn't do as much because now you got 3 tight ends on the field.
Absolutely. And on paper, this looks like a great scheme because the Pittsburgh Steelers have a hard time with covering tight ends. When you have a 3 tight end set, you have blockers in, which gives the quarterback more time to throw the ball.
Right.
And by doing this, it should have been a win-win for the 49ers. Unfortunately, all it did was give Kaepernick more time to run the ball. So with that being said, you don't win games by running the ball if you're a quarterback. You win games by throwing touchdowns. And my kudos I want to give out to cornerback Ross Cockrell, who we picked up from the Buffalo Bills, who released him. Cornerback filling in for Cortez Allen did a fantastic job at cornerback. And when you got guys like him and Boykin coming in, who didn't have any snaps, or Boykin didn't have any snaps against the Patriots last week, coming in, and we all...
He had a nice pass defense in that game as well.
He absolutely did, but he's working on a groin injury.
Yeah.
So it all depends on which way you look, half empty, half full, with Boykin and Cockrell. I mean, we have a lot of spaces to fill, and they came in and did a great job against a fantastic quarterback like Kaepernick. We're not talking some third stringer, some second stringer, some new recruit, some college kid. This is Kaepernick.
Right. And the Steelers did a great job against him. In this game, the Steelers had 21 first downs, and you wouldn't know it from the time possession, especially in this game. It was almost a reversal of the first game the Steelers playing the Patriots. The Steelers had the ball for only 23 minutes as opposed to the 49ers having it for 36 minutes, almost 37 minutes, Big O. But the fact is, the Steelers defense had that bend but don't break mentality.
Right, and I could explain totally for that. Like I said, with the 3 tight end set, you have Kaepernick back in the pocket, and what he did was ran with the ball, not throw it downfield to create more yardage, but he created first downs. And by doing that, you didn't put points on the board. All you did was take ticks off the clock. So there we go with the ball control for the 49ers, because he had to run for his life. And by doing so, he had to get first downs, and that's why that the 49ers had more, they controlled the clock more than Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. Well, the 49ers ended up with 448 yards. A lot of that, like you said, was kind of that ball control, trying to get back into the game after being down by so many points. At one point, 29-3 before half, or right at half. And the Steelers ended up with 453 yards. So the Steelers' offense is still clicking on all cylinders. Even the game that they lost to the New England Patriots, the offense was still gelling. And it seems like it's going to be an actual constant thing with the Steelers right now. At this point, it does in the season. There's going to be a lot of big numbers coming out of Pittsburgh in this game. Roethlisberger, 33 of 46, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, the guy looks sharp. D'Angelo Williams, 20 carries for 77 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, D'Angelo is really stepping up, and he's going to make things very, very tough when Le'Veon Bell comes back, because as we all know, there's going to be players that's going to be on the chopping block, and I might have to start with Dre Archer.
Right, and don't forget newly acquisition Todman from the Carolina Panthers. He had 1 carry for 11 yards, but this guy, let me tell you, like I said, for many Steelers in the past, when I have that inner premonition about somebody, this guy as a 3rd down back, forget about it. I mean, this guy is a bruiser. This guy came up in preseason. He tore up the Steelers defense with yards and rushing. So I have nothing less to say about this guy that he can produce for the Pittsburgh Steelers coming from off the bench, being that 3rd down back that we need.
And Antonio Brown, the masterful Antonio Brown, 9 catches, 195 yards. I wanted him to break 200 so bad, but hey, you know what? He got there. 1 touchdown. Hayward Bay, like I said last show, I knew he was going to get a touchdown this game, and Hayward Bay is making great strides in the Steelers' offense right now, starting to become regarded as a receiver again.
Yeah, he kept his feet in bounds this one. For this play,
a great
for
catch
this time.
too, actually.
But you know, like we said before, when you exploit the cover 2 defense like the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can see that. How can we do this to the other team? And we look at film, and they look at film, and they say, well, we're being exploited. How are they doing that? We turn the tables, we do it ourselves, and it comes out. And you got these guys blowing past defensive backs and safeties. There's no reason why somebody from the offense, wide receiver, tight end, or whatever, should be behind the safety. It doesn't make any sense. And when that happens, you get touchdowns. Hayward Bay, touchdown, long one. Beautiful.
You got to love it. And don't forget Heath Miller, 2 catches, 15 yards, 1 touchdown. I'd like to see his numbers go up a little more because, like I said, that helps with that ball control with the offense. But the fact is, nonetheless, he scored a touchdown in his game. Kaepernick for the 49ers.
Absolutely. 33 for 46 for 335 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Hyde, 13 carries, 43 yards, and there's a little bit behind that. He was injured early. There's some confusion with his injury. Some say might have thought it was a leg contusion or leg bruise. Some thought it was a concussion. He went back, got the concussion test, everything cleared that, came back and still could not produce because that Steeler defense was unbelievable.
Yeah, this was the wrong day to play against the Steelers hurt, And he threw a lot of the ball, and we gave up 1 long touchdown to Torrey Smith, which, basically like he usually does against the Steelers, he kind of torches us or finds a way. Granted, the game was kind of out of hand when he did that, but,
right.
Hey, we got to shut down all aspects. But the defense for the Steelers, like we said earlier, 5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, huge day for the Steelers, and the Steelers really did nothing wrong in this game, to be honest.
Right, and there's a reason why there was no interceptions, because Kaepernick was not throwing the ball, and when he did throw the ball, it was in junk time, garbage time, whatever you want to call it. But Tiz, that kind of scares me. I mean, you're up by 20 points or whatnot. You don't want to give other teams chances to get back into the game. You don't want to go back to the falling back into the nickel special defenses. And you want to continue to put pressure on the offense, put that foot to the throat, and you want to make sure that there's no chance. Granted, I mean, you win 43-18, you're up by 3-4 scores, and it doesn't matter what the offense does for the team, but what it does to the defense, it builds up your for the next game. Let's put constant pressure on these guys. Let's really put these guys away. And just because you're up by 20 points, 21 points, whatnot, you don't want to give the other team a chance to get back into the game.
I agree with you totally. Hey, guys, you know what? We got you caught up on some of the things that happened in that game versus the 49ers. Guys, we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to head out to check out our boy, Jeff Reed, next up on Steeler Nation Live, Big-O.
Uniform Express, located on 1408 Buffalo Road, Rochester, New York, for your police, fire, or EMS supplies. One of Rochester's top and finest suppliers of shirts, pants, shoes, boots, and accessories for your professional uniform needs.
Uniform Express also does embroidery and screen print for team uniforms, jerseys, and corporations. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also go to their website at www.uniformexpress.com or call Brian at 585-529-4245. That's 585-529-4245. And let Brian know you heard his ad on our show, Steeler Nation Live.
Welcome back to Steeler Nation Live. I'm Big O.
I'm Big Tiz.
And right now, sports fans, this is the time of the show where we bring back Jeff Reed, who is a permanent fixture with Steeler Nation Live. Jeff Reed, welcome back to the show.
What's going on, guys?
All right, Jeff, week 2. The Pittsburgh Steelers come out with a convincing win against the San Francisco 49ers. Not a scrub team, not a bad team to play. What do you think was the biggest factor for this victory?
Well, a lot of people like, where I work now here in Charlotte, North Carolina, like to talk a lot of smack because I have a lot of Steelers memorabilia in my office. So, I kind of told them, I said, I wouldn't bet me on the home opener. I said I would never bet me on a home opener in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I don't care who the Steelers are playing. I don't remember losing a home opener. I'm sure we may have. I was there 9 seasons, but I really don't remember losing a home opener. So I think they were a little disappointed in their performance against the Patriots, even though the Patriots are obviously a good team. They went to Buffalo and won. But on the flip side of that, you come back home, you go 0-2. Already the fans are, not giving up on you, but they're already down on you. So and San Francisco is no weak team. So I just think in general it was an overall great game by everyone on that team.
Jeff, do you think the Steelers will keep up their rapid pace with the way their offense is playing right now? They had 2 huge games where the offense put up some huge numbers. Do you think it will continue in this week versus the St. Louis Rams?
I'll tell you what, it might be somewhat of a shootout in St. Louis. And the only reason I say that is because Seattle, even though they are 0-2, they've lost to 2 great teams. I think St. Louis is a very good team. The Redskins played their A game. St. Louis did not play their A game. Everyone can make excuses, but I think the Steelers have their hands full with the front 7 of the Rams and also with Nick Foles and Gurley and everybody else. I mean, they have some weapons in St. Louis. Now, they have the Rams of old where you kind of knew you're going to win by 28, 30 points. So I'm not saying they're going to lose by any means because I think Pittsburgh is on a pretty high right now. And so I would say it's going to be more of a shootout. Not to say the Steelers' defense is bad or St. Louis' defense is bad. I just think both quarterbacks are capable of putting numbers up.
Hey, Jeff, looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers might have a running back controversy with Le'Veon Bell coming back, the number 1 running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even though DeAngelo Williams is doing so good, you're Mike Tomlin. What do you do next week against the St. Louis Rams?
Well, you start him. He's the best running back in the NFL. I understand he's coming off a knee injury. I understand that DeAngelo is playing some great football. But DeAngelo is exactly where he needs to be in a great backup role to the number 1 running back in the NFL. So it's a no-brainer.
Jeff, now, with Le'Veon Bell coming back, there's going to be a lot of people on the board to be cut, especially starting with Dre Archer. But the fact is we have Josh Scobie, who nobody wants to really talk about. The elephant in the room, the fact is this guy missed another kick here in Pittsburgh, in Heinz Field, before this home sellout crowd. Do you think the Steelers right now are at the point where they have to start scouring the waiver wire?
Josh Scobie will be the kicker definitely this week. I would say they gave up a draft pick for him. So, and I think Josh, although we don't live in our past, even when we do, we don't succeed. Josh in the past, and especially in the past few years, has been like the number 1 kicker percentage-wise in the NFL. I think besides Tucker from Baltimore and Bailey from Dallas. I think if he's not tied with them, he's right up there with him. Now, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to make every kick you attempt when you switch teams. But on the flip side of that, you have to realize that you have a hell of a talent there. Is he struggling a little bit? Yeah, he's struggling. But it's 2 weeks in. I think he never really got into a rhythm. I'm not making excuses for him because when you're a big money guy and a successful guy, you're expected to come right in and produce. So he will be playing against St. Louis. He'll be in a dome. Hopefully for his sake, he's more comfortable. Josh is a good guy. I know Josh personally. I haven't reached out to him because I don't want to put any extra pressure on him. It's not what kind of personality I have. The only thing I would say to him is, focus on you and what you're great at and just do your best. But I think he'll be fine. But then again, if he continues to struggle, they will replace him. Because in Pittsburgh, you have to have a solid kicker because a lot of games come down to less than 7 points.
You know what, Jeff, I respect what you got to say, but I, as a fan, from Steel Nation Live, but as a fan, I'm not really convinced yet that Scobie is the man. Even though his last 3 PATs were right down the middle, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is, including myself, because I know how capable he is. And like I said last week, I really think that I don't think he's struggling. I just think he's having some, just a rough couple games. But he's not used to having pressure. In Jacksonville, you're not a team that going into the game, I don't think those players truly believe they were ever going to win going into the game. They can say whatever they want, but they didn't play like it. In Pittsburgh, you're expected to pretty much be as close to perfect as possible because you have a constant target on the back. And I don't think he's quite used to that role yet. And I mean, he'll figure it out, but he better figure it out sooner than later or he won't be in that uniform very long.
Now, Jeff, in saying that, what do you see as a score for the Steelers coming into St. Louis in front of it's going to be a hostile crowd? What do you see the score as being for them?
Well, I did say it was going to be a shootout, so I can't say something low. I would probably say like 31-27, something like that, Pittsburgh. I think because of the week that Pittsburgh had versus the weekend that Pittsburgh had versus the weekend that the Rams had. I think the Rams will come out trying a little bit hard, maybe make a couple mistakes that the Steelers will capitalize on, and the Rams will probably never catch up.
Thank you, Jeff, once again for being on the show. Steel Nation Live, not just a guest anymore, but a permanent fixture with Steel Nation Live. Thank you, Jeff, once again for your report.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for having me. Look forward to it next week.
You got it. Take care, Jeff.
You guys have a good night.
The Steelers have been in, pretty much decent injury, injury-free kind of right now at this point. We did have some huge injuries at the beginning of the season, but right now the Steelers still have some bumps and bruises, Big O. Yeah, let's talk about the injury report from the San Francisco 49er game. Not a lot to report, Big Tiz, which is a good thing, like you just mentioned. Unfortunately, Ryan Shazier did leave the game early in the fourth quarter against the 49ers with a shoulder, somewhat, I don't want to say a shoulder injury. We want to call it a shoulder stinger. So because of the score and we want to keep him fresh, Mike Tomlin kept him out of the rest of the game, which is a smart move. I see no problem with Ryan Shazier playing against the Rams next week or the upcoming game. So I would list him as probable. Other than that, like you said, Big Tiz, bumps and bruises, cuts and scrapes. I think we're pretty fine with the injury report from the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to love it when you hear things like that. Really not much going on for the Steelers in the injury front, but now they don't go limping into the next game, not really, and that's a good thing right now. The Steelers right now, Big O, heading into St. Louis, playing the St. Louis Rams. And what do you see as some of the previews that the Steelers will have to do to be effective in this game versus the Rams? Well, if it's any indication of what they did against the Washington Redskins last week, their offense was a complete mess. They have the people to do it, but they just didn't do it against the Redskins. And this is what the Pittsburgh Steelers need to capitalize. They didn't have a ground game. Right. They didn't have a passing game. And very undisciplined for the Rams to have almost 10 penalties. Almost sounds like the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. It's just, with Nick Foles coming in, we don't want to make excuses. New team, new quarterback, but this is a veteran quarterback, Nick Foles. You got the keys. You got Tavon Austin. You got Trey Mason. You got Kenny Britt. You got the resources to do this. Didn't happen. You might not see this kind of outlook against the Pittsburgh Steelers next week as they did with the Washington Redskins. So we have to be on our toes, Big Tiz. So what do you think your keys to victory will be against the St. Louis? Coming into the Dome, indoor cats. We're outdoor cats. Right. What do you see the Pittsburgh Steelers doing
as far as a win for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, the Steelers have to, one thing they have to amass, they have to finish drives. That's the main thing. Once you get down there, instead of kicking field goals right now, which I don't know if the Steelers are really in a good place to feel comfortable about kicking field goals, go down and score, Pittsburgh. That's what you have to do. If you're going to get down there, get to the end zone, and that way you can quiet the crowd down. When you quiet the crowd down, take them out of the game, that kind of makes these guys feel like, you know what, are we in Pittsburgh or where are we? You know what, and you want to take the crowd out of the game. Pressure Folk, I believe.
Foles.
I'm sorry. I don't know why
Close
I said
enough.
Wasn't Folk a kicker? Anyway, but you know it's that time of the night. It's late night, baby. But the fact is, pressure Foles. Foles has to be pressure. He has to be pressured huge. Because when you do that, all the other things will start to fall apart. And then you start to attack the run game. Now, if Pittsburgh plays this the same way they played the 49ers, there should be no problem with this game, especially dealing with a quarterback that's not a runner. You know, that doesn't have that second phase that you have to really worry about, which is the run. He has a good arm, but the fact is, if you can pressure him, and we all know pressure causes disruption causes problems. And that's what the Steelers have to do in this game. I can see the Steelers actually in this game probably winning pretty decent. I'm gonna go out and say a score of 27-14.
I agree totally with you. They have two receivers. They have Kenny Britt and have Jared Cook, the tight end. Tight ends are like our downfall.
Right.
So, but they weren't a downfall against the 49ers because they always came out with the three tight end set. We have to bump these receivers at the line. We cannot play cushion defense. And even though it was junk yardage and junk plays that we allowed first downs to the 49ers, we cannot do this. We have to establish that this is our defense, and we're going to stop whether we're up 20, 30, or 40 points. You're not going to score on us. And this is the mentality the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has to get in. We all know Keith Butler, new defensive coordinator, kind of green in the gills there, but you got to tell your players, you got to put continuous pressure. You cannot play off the ball. Doesn't matter. You get burned long, but you know what? Pressure at the line of scrimmage, jam them up there, get them off their routes. We put pressure on the quarterback, like you mentioned, Big Tiz, stop the running game, and there's no reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers cannot win big in St. Louis. My score, Big Tiz, 37-13. Big Ben has an average day, 300-plus yards, 3 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell lights up the ground. I think he scores 2. I'm not sure, but he gets back in the game. We get D'Angelo Williams late in the fourth quarter. We get Todman in there, and we just run the ball down their throats. So it's going to be a big win for Pittsburgh, but it's not going to happen easily. You have to do these things. Get involved in the red zone. Get Heath Miller, play action, do some more bubble screens, some wide receiver screens, and this is how the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win. And not to mention, we're pretty good on 2-point conversion to Big.
Yeah, we're looking pretty good. That's almost becoming like an easy thing for us right now at this point. But the fact is, hey guys, when we come back, we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to give you our final thoughts for the night. Next up on Steeler Nation Live.
It's Spaghetti Sports Pub, located at 2246 East River Road. A perfect blend of Irish charm and Italian cuisine. From Calabria favorites like calamari to chicken French to the new signature dish like the Steel City Deli.
The Rothless Burger.
Everything is delicious and prepared fresh for you. They offer a full lineup of your favorite beverages with drink specials daily, and don't forget their $5 Monster Bomb.
Ice cold beer.
All day, every day. With 2 floors of seating and 20 high-def televisions, there's not a bad seat in the house to catch every minute of the NFL action.
Watch what you want.
McGinnis is the official home of the Rochester Steelers fan club.
Steelers!
So come on down to McGinnis Sports Pub, 2246 East River Road in Henrietta.
At Grease Lightning, we offer fast automotive service, specializing in oil changes and auto repairs.
All right. You ready?
Sure.
Welcome back to Steeler Nation Live. Big Tiz.
And I'm Big O.
Guys, this is the part of the night where we give you our final thoughts, and I'm going to start off and give you guys what Big Tiz is thinking about. You know what, from what I've seen from the Steelers from the last couple of weeks, the Steelers, you look in great position right now. You just have to be able to hold on to that position. And that means doing the things that you need to correct yourself to get better. And they seem to have done that in certain instances on the defense. But you know what? Players can do that from game to game, and that's why the movie was created, Any Given Sunday. It gives it that same thought of the fact that, you know, any team can be beaten on any given Sunday, and that is true to an aspect. But the fact is, the Steelers have to be able to do the little things that's right, and that means by being in the right defensive positions. That means on offense, completing that short pass. That means by making those field goals. Right now, I see the Steelers are heading in a great direction, and all they can do is keep going up. And I can see things happening now. You're getting your tools back. You're getting Le'Veon Bell. And do I think Le'Veon should start right now? I'm not that positive. I think maybe he should start, but it shouldn't be where he's carrying the ball a heavy dose. It should be the fact that maybe 10 to 12 carries, I believe, in this game, and let Williams continually do what he does until Le'Veon is back into that flow of the game. As we've seen in the game when the Minnesota Vikings were playing, and Adrian Peterson on his first game back, he started a lot of fumbles were coming, and, you know, just getting back into that game.
Social media is not just an activity. It is an investment of valuable time and resources with people who are not just supportive, but also who provide valuable input to guide and to inform, are thinking about ways to continue creating wow factors in our online presence. We appreciate you all for not only liking and subscribing to our social media outlets, but also for engaging in meaningful conversations via our social media pages. Accordingly, here's to you for making us better than we ever thought or even dare imagine. Thank you.
This week when the Steelers head down into St. Louis.
Well, Big Tiz, I like your outlook 3-0, and you know the saying, cheaters never win and winners never cheat. Never play with the New England Patriots. I guess. Don't know. But you know what, Big Tiz? I am not going to copy what you said because everything you said was 100% accurate other than the 3-0 record. However, what is going on with instant replay? All right, Big Tiz, we talk about it all the time, and this is what I want to talk about right now. Okay, we all have it in our mind. What are these referees looking at? When we throw the flag, the red flag, we want somebody to look at the screen, review the play. Now, granted, when they review this play, it's not in actual motion. They get to manipulate the camera, manipulate the angles, slow it down, speed it up. It's not regular play. Like, they're not making a decision off the actual play. So my question to you is, what are you looking at? Now, when I'm looking at the TV and they're doing the play, they're reviewing it. They're showing different angles, different ways or views of the play. Slow it down, very slow, so you can see if people's feet are in, if people have control of the ball, if they drop the ball, whatever. Now, this comes to mind 2 plays with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 49ers game. The first play that was reviewed was a tight end for the 49ers, caught the ball in the end zone, had full possession of the ball, crossed the goal line, 2 feet in, he's got the ball, falls down, ball comes out, incomplete. In my mind, and I'm pretty sure NFL rules, that is a catch. Once you have possession in the end zone, 2 feet are down, you have control of the ball, you cross the goal line, that's a touchdown because, folks, the ground can cause a fumble. Now, we all looked at it for many, many minutes. Different angles of this play. Referees, no touchdown. Victory for Pittsburgh? Yes, I agree. Trust me. I'm like, well, you know what, Big Tiz? They didn't call it a touchdown. I'm happy, but I'm not happy with the referees because it's going to come back to bite us. And did it. Didn't affect the outcome of the game, but it did bite us. It did give 7 points to the 49ers. And the play I'm talking about, when Bolden caught the ball in the end zone, 1 foot in. Touchdown. This play was reviewed. Mike Tomlin threw the red flag, such as a good coach should do. Referees reviewed it. Different angles, slow speed, different sides. At the foot, where the sideline was, 1 foot in bounds. The other foot, folks, Out of bounds. Touchdown. How do you do this? I don't know. I would really love an answer. Was it a makeup call because they knew they screwed up the first touchdown? I don't know. But this is what's going to kill the Pittsburgh Steelers down the road. These BS penalties. I don't know. This is Big O from Steeler Nation Live.
Hey, you gotta love it here. Like I said, when we come and we give you our thoughts, you know, it's our sincere thoughts of what we're thinking, what's going on in the game, and the direction that we possibly see the Steelers possibly going into, and just our own personal thoughts. But the fact is, guys, again, we want you guys to keep checking us out. Go onto our website, www.steelernationlive.net. Like I said, there you'll see information about myself, Big O, and the things we like to do. We want to see your pictures up there. There's a lot of things we want you guys to do when you go to that website. And actually, there's going to be a lot of guests that's going to be still coming on the show down the pipe as well. You know, as you know, we have Jeff Reed as a regular on the show here, and we also have, gotta love it, and we also have, you know, the mayor from Pittsburgh is going to be on the show very soon. So you guys got to tune in and check us out here on Steeler Nation Live. There's a lot of things. We're going to keep it going. Things happening this year on Steeler Nation Live, Big O.
Yeah, and stay tuned because, folks, you're in Rochester, New York. We are trying our best to get Jeff Reed right here, downtown Rochester. McGinney's Sports Pub, the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Rochester. Our main sponsor, Sal McGinney's. We love you, Sal. Great food, great drink specials. In fact, folks, if you're hungry right now, get out there to Sal's. And also, I cannot tell you more enough about this birthday chicken wing special. If you love chicken wings, you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's your birthday, come on down to McGinney's, 2246 East River Road, Rochester, New York, because Big Tiz, if it's your birthday, no matter how old you are, for every year, you get a chicken wing. And I'm not talking just a chicken. I'm talking about one of probably the greatest chicken wings in Rochester, New York. Any flavor, any style, any size, because they're jumbo.
Oh,
delicious.
You gotta love it.
Come
so
on down.
Find the oldest person you can get and bring them down. You all can party.
But you have to eat the wings there. You can't take them to go, unfortunately. But you know what? Why would you want to leave McGinney's with 20 plus HD screen TVs? You can watch the Pittsburgh Steelers in your sporting event when the Pittsburgh Steelers are not on at the bar with great friends and great family. We're trying to get Jeff down here to Rochester, New York to be with us.
You gotta love it here. So guys, hey, till we see you next time from Big Tiz
and Big O
on Steeler Nation Live. We'll see you next week with another great Steeler win.
I don't believe I love